My biggest underreaction to week 1 was the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. We saw the Chiefs lose. We saw the Lions win at Arrowhead. And what's been really surprising to me about this Lions team as a defense, they obviously improved from last year, getting a lot, like replacing that secondary, making that secondary a lot deeper and filling it with full of veterans. And then adding the superstar Brian Branch, who I thought tore his Achilles there for a second last game against the Green Bay Packers. And now we're seeing the Kings of the North are the Detroit Lions. They're going to win the division without question. The Vikings are already out of it. The Bears are the Bears, and they already have a win against Green Bay. Not to say that they can't come back and beat them, the Packers, in just a single game, but the Lions are just going to run away with this division. They're just too talented not to. Mr. Andrew, what do you think? Am I overreacting to my underreaction?
No, not at all. I watched this Lions team play against the Packers, and I kept on thinking, this is San Francisco Midwest. They have this big, aggressive, physical defensive line that is just putting all kinds of pressure up the middle, on the edges, physical secondary, like there's speed everywhere. This is a hell of a team. They are built to take the North.
I really do think they are. I think they're built to take the North, and they play a lot of indoor games, and they're a high-flying team. And what I was really surprised by, in particular, is just my emotions behind the game. Because I grew up a Lions fan. I know how it goes there. And I'm watching this game, and the Packers game in particular, and I'm just like sitting back like, man, we're making a few mistakes here and there. If this was 2 years ago, I'd be like, same old Lions. They got no chance. Obviously, they're going to lose this game. Scriptwriters are involved. But now I'm just sitting there like, they got it. There was a point last game where the Packers accepted a holding call on like the 3-yard line, on their own 3-yard line. They were defending in the red zone. And I was like, man, they should have declined that penalty, because I feel way better about the Lions pulling off a touchdown to Amon-Ra St. Brown or now the superstar Sam Laporta, who I offered straight up in Dynasty Mark Andrews for Sam Laporta and was asked if I was on crack because he thought the trade was so off center. Yeah, the Lions look super impressive. James, what are you thinking about the Lions? What are you seeing over there in the NFC North?
No, yeah, definitely had a first-round grade on Brian Branch. Definitely biased from now then. But I've loved what I've seen so far. I think this is just like an old school football team. This is like what we grew up watching football. We're going to run it down your throats. We're going to come out, single back, do play action, pass it to a tight end for a good 20-yard gain, right? Defense is hard-nosed. I love it. I mean, it just feels like good old school football. It's very Midwest football, and it's fun to watch. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from this for me, is that it seems like everybody on that team is just having fun, and I think that's a big change for being a Detroit Lion.
Well, how could you not be? They are so explosive. It's crazy how explosive that, and they're so subtly explosive too. Because I feel like they haven't had that play that's goes for like 80 yards on a single play, but they're taking big chunks every single step they get, like big chunks of 20 yards, and it doesn't feel like anything because it's a Jared Goff flick of the wrist who's playing like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now. That Lions team just feels kind of unstoppable at this point with the road wins that they've gotten. And oh boy, wait to see some of these NFL stadiums get filled with Lions fans. I was at the game last year, the Cowboys game in Jerry World, and it had to have been 60-40, 40% Lions fans. And man, we're gonna take over that stadium this year. I'm gonna call it right now. Even if the Cowboys stay on the streak that they're on, which is like really good outside of one letdown performance against maybe more of an average Cardinals team than we originally thought with Josh Dobbs. Any last thoughts on our underreaction to week 1, Miles Francis?
Just that I remember watching that first week, you and I watched together, and we both just kept talking over and over again about how this isn't really Detroit winning. It's Kansas City hasn't gotten it going yet, and they don't have Kelsey, and Mahomes is working with some new receivers.
Yep.
Oh my God, who is the guy that was supposed to go off? The receiver they have in Kansas City,
Kadarius
Toney. He did nothing. He did literally nothing that game. Like he had the interception that it went through his hands and right into Detroit's. And I think just that is obviously embarrassing looking back on and how wrong we were. Just like Kansas City is doing fine. Detroit is also doing incredibly well for Detroit. Probably arguably the best they've ever been in my lifetime.
Definitely the best they've been in our lifetime. They haven't won a playoff game in my lifetime. They've made 2 playoffs in my lifetime.
Might be bold saying that in week 5, but still, it's
a different.
Yeah,
it's
as James said earlier,
man.
we shouldn't sample too small a set of data, but man,
It's a quarter.
4 weeks through, it's looking pretty promising.
20% of the season.
This is a good time period.
Yeah, it's a good sample size. We can start seeing things now. And that's what we think. Moving on to the next segment, we're gonna add James again. Talk again, James.
You mean Spenser?
Spenser. That's what.
Can you hear me? Do I sound all right?
Yeah, you sound great. You're not echoing at all.
I don't believe I was echoing in the first place.
I get that Jamie thinks I'm going to be the problem every time.
I think it was a whole birthday prank, and you guys just fooled me. But
Happy birthday, buddy. You actually sound way better than your really expensive microphone that you were talking into.
yeah, I think I broke him in the move. When I moved, I think I broke him.
Is he going through like all the 7 steps right now? Because first it was in denial. I think we're on to we're working towards acceptance right now.
I'm just not one to take. I don't take blame for anything. I'm a lot like a wide receiver, like a diva wide receiver. Nothing is ever my fault, and I need to get the ball more.